Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Minnesota.
This Sunday, Twins and Indians matchup is presented by Super America. Get your Knoxville Kids Day vouchers at any local Super America. Beautiful day for baseball, and we will play baseball after some morning showers have moved through the Twin Cities. It has been a weekend of some major moments at the plate. Trevor Plouffe launched some Friday night fireworks with a walk-off home run in the 11th in the opener. Yesterday, Cleveland countered as Roberto Perez powered the Tribe to a 4-2 win with 3 hits, including a second deck shot to left center. So it's on to today's rubber game. Trevor May on the mound for Minnesota, and for the Tribe, left-hander T.J. House, who went 3-0 against the Twins last season. Tom Hanneman and Tim Laudner back at Target Field, where the Twins and Tribe will close out this series on this Sunday afternoon. So far this season, the Twins' success at the plate has largely come from their veteran hitters.
Yeah, we like to call them the veterans, but we also, Tom, like to call them the cagey veterans. And here's Torrey Hunter, since moving down into that second spot in the batting order. Paul Molitor making a change a little bit early. All he's done is hit .417 with a couple of doubles. Nice to see Torrey swinging the bat very well. Also, Kurt Suzuki, he's another one of those cagey veteran guys. All he's done in the last couple of games that he's played in is hit a couple of balls out of the ballpark, and he's done that with a lot of experience that he brings into this Minnesota Twins lineup. And, of course, the last guy, well, that's Joe Mauer. Anytime Joe Mauer's swinging the bat good, that's a good thing for the Twins players. That's a good thing for the Twins fans. 9 hits in the last 9, and hitting in 9 of his last 11 games. Doing a really nice job at the plate. You know that his legs are feeling pretty good. He's feeling pretty solid. That change to first base still serving Joe very, very well. In yesterday's ball game, he had a really couple of nice at-bats. Here's a pitch that's in the first inning, kind of out over the plate, and he gets the bat head out front and pulls into right field for a base hit. It's nice to see Joe getting the bat head out in front, being able to pull the ball a little bit, but also Joe is Joe. And here, later on in the game, he gets the ball that's down a little bit away, and he shoots that ball into left field for a double. When Joe's staying on the baseball, shooting that ball the other way, you know Joe's seeing the ball very, very well. So that's a good thing for Twins fans to be able to see Joe swinging the bat well. And, Tom, it's his birthday today.
Coming up, Dick and Bert discuss the task ahead for Twin starter Trevor May. Check your calendars. It's May and April. I didn't think that was possible.
North is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import.
The Twins have a chance to finish off a winning homestand this afternoon at Target Field in the final game of the series with the Cleveland Indians. The homestand started with Trevor May on the mound in the opener against the Kansas City Royals. He's hoping for a better result here this afternoon. And the Twins hitters will take on T.J. House, a left-hander for the Indians that's given them trouble in the past. And we welcome you to a Sunday afternoon here at Target Field. Dick Bramer along with Bert Blyleven. The last 4 years have been very disappointing for the Twins and you fans, and no more so than it is in how poorly the team has played at home. So yes, a chance for a winning homestand for the Twins today. That's something they haven't done a very good job of.
Yeah, as you can see, since 2011, what you want to do, you want to win at home. The Twins have not done a very good job of that, winning 3, losing 8, and then tying 1. But so far this year against the Kansas City Royals, they won 2 out of 3. Here this afternoon, they get a chance to win 2 out of 3 from the Indians.
Maybe the highlight of the homestand was how the Twins handled a left-hander who had given them trouble in the past, Jason Vargas of the Kansas City Royals. They've had a hard time with T.J. House of the Indians, so maybe that means they'll have some success against him today.
Well, T.J. House is a left-hander that kind of, not overpowering. He has to hit his spots. He's coming off a very poor start in his only other start, that against the Tigers, but who didn't early on. But T.J. House, great success against the Twins. He has won only 5 Major League games and 3 against the Twins.
Trevor May had things going okay in the first 5 innings against the Kansas City Royals on the home opener, but then things kind of piled up on him in the 6th.
Yeah, I think what we needed to see out of Trevor May here this afternoon is more consistency in the strike zone. If he can do that, get ahead, then trust his stuff. Trevor May has Major League stuff. Now he just has to go about and do it on the mound.
First series of this homestand was an impressive series win against the Royals, and the Twins hope to finish it off with a series win against the Indians. during this homestand that's featured incredibly nice weather for mid-April. It's cooler, cloudier. We don't believe there's any chance of rain anymore, which is a blessing. We were concerned about some rain today. Terry Francona, the first city of a 3-city road trip for the Indians. And they, like the Twins, have had a tough time scoring runs. He'll try to milk as many runs as he can out of this Menards batting order. Michael Bourne, Jason Kipnis, Michael Brantley, Carlos Santana, Brandon Moss, David Murphy, Lonnie Chisenhall, Roberto Perez, and Jose Ramirez. He's come back with the same starting lineup for all 3 games.
And the mound, it'll be Trevor May. Trevor May, 25 years old at 6'5", making his second start of the year. He did, like we mentioned, had the Twins opener here last Monday against the Chicago White Sox. And he can just stay away from that big inning. I look at Trevor May, I think of the 3 C's in pitching. Better command, better consistency, and better under control. It was a 6th inning that kind of got away from him in his opening start, where he allowed 3 runs, and that gave the White Sox a 5-1 lead. He ended up losing 12-3.
3 C's, I thought you were talking about my high school report card.
I would have been happy.
Yeah, the Northland Ford defense for the Twins. RCA in left. Shane Robinson getting the start in center field. Torrey Hunter in right. Fluke at third. Escobar in for Santana in short. Dozier and Mauer right side of the infield. Suzuki behind the plate. Brian Gorman also behind the plate, calling balls and strikes. Mark Carlson, Mike DeMuro, Trip Gibson the third on the bases, and we are underway. Up and away, ball 1. Michael Bourne, the leadoff man. He'll be followed by Jason Kipnis and Michael Brantley. High fly, short left field. Arcia comes in for the catch, 1 away. Trevor May had a decent outing going against the Royals. Just a couple of runs allowed over 5 innings, but then the first 3 batters reached safely with hits in the 6th inning for Kansas City, and then by inning's end all 3 came around to score. So the overall numbers not good at all.
Yeah, overall, but again, he kept the club in the game the first 5 innings. In the 6th inning, kind of like you lost some type of rhythm or just got tired. I don't know what it was, but you know, just he needs to be more consistent. Get ahead in the count, and he gets strike 1 on Jason Kipnis.
During the broadcast yesterday, relating it to Phil Hughes, that Hughes was probably the closest thing that the Twins had to a strikeout pitcher. But if you look at May's numbers in the minor leagues, and even last year, he struggled last year. He's a strikeout pitcher. He can get some strikeouts, and maybe as he gains more maturity, more experience, we'll see even more and more strikeout ability.
Yeah, 900 strikeouts in 775 innings pitched in the minor leagues.
And 44 and 45 and 2/3 last year. Despite his control issues, he was still able to get nearly a strikeout per inning pitch.
You know what? He has a very good curveball. Tight rotation on that curveball, but if it's always 2-1, 3-1, it's tough to throw that.
And there's a strikeout for out number 2.
Yeah, running fastball up in the strike zone, and Kipnis swinging at maybe a ball. But it's May that picks up the strikeout for the 2nd out. Taking a look at the location, see Suzuki wanting it middle in, and the ball has some tail on it, and Kipnis swings through it.
Michael Brantley, the hitter. Encouraging news for the Indians, who saw Brantley not play at all in for most of the first week and a half. He's come back now and played 3 games in a row here in Minnesota, twice as a left fielder.
Well, such a big part to their offense, where they have really trouble scoring runs. This is their 10th game. They scored only 33 runs. Brantley knocked in 97 runs last year.
1-1. Twins season so far has been marked by a couple of streaks. A 3-game losing streak to start the season, a 3-game winning streak in the middle of this homestand. And May's career is a career based on short streaks. 1 and 2 to Brantley. fouled back. He's had a decision in every one of his starts. And he started his major league career with a 4-game losing streak. Then he had a 3-game winning streak. And now going back to last year, he's had a 3-game losing streak.
Hey, faced the the Indians twice last year, both of them in September. He won one, he lost one.
1-2 again. And pitched down and in at 95 miles per hour. By a couple miles per hour, that's a couple miles per hour hotter than a normal Trevor May fastball. And just missing the corner at 94. Full count with Santana on deck. Foul at the plate. The Twins really need Trevor May to pitch well enough to stay in the rotation after Ricky Nolasco comes back. Nolasco had a bullpen session today. It went well. The Twins have announced that they will send him out on a rehab assignment to Cedar Rapids, their Midwest League Class A affiliate. Fly ball center field. Playable for Robinson. And a good 1-2-3 first inning for Trevor May. Manager, pretty fine shape. Team has played much better baseball after a very rough first road trip. And the Menard batting order for the Twins. Brian Dozier back in the leadoff spot with Danny Santana starting the game on the bench. Torrey Hunter, Joe Mauer, Kenny Vargas inheriting the cleanup spot. Then Trevor Plouffe, Kurt Suzuki, Oswaldo Arcia, Eduardo Escobar, and Shane Robinson.
And it'll be T.J. House on the mound this afternoon for the Cleveland Indians, making his second start. He wants to throw out that first start where he only went an inning and a third against the Tigers. Got beat up a little bit, but he has had a lot of success against the Twins. 3-0 in 4 starts.
Foul back, 1-1. Twins won a 3-2 ball game in extra innings on Friday. Indians won 4-2 yesterday. Runs have been at a premium. Indians scored first Friday. Twins came back and won. And the only lead they had came when Trevor Plouffe won the game by crossing home plate after his 11th inning home run. So see if the Twins can change the script a little bit here. 2-1 to Dozier. That's to left, hit pretty well. Brantley's right there though for the catch. Solid contact, first out of the ball game for Brian Dozier. That'll bring him Torrey Hunter. No plan for defense for the Indians. Brantley back out there in left. Michael Bourne in center field. Brandon Moss in right. Chisenhall, Ramirez, Kipnis, Santana, the infielders. And Perez back behind the plate.
Yeah, but the Twins will see from House is not an overpowering pitcher like they have seen the last couple of days, but a guy that has a breaking ball right there for strike one. Very good changeup. Voted the best changeup in the minor league system. Last year, his rookie season, made 18 starts for the Indians.
1-1.
I think what was most impressive, he won 5 of the 18 starts, but the Indians were 13-5 in his 18 starts.
Fouled away. This is the 12th game for the Twins this year, and House is the 5th left-handed starting pitcher that they've seen. David Price, Chris Sale, Danny Duffy, Vargas of Kansas City up the middle, hit right at Kipnis. And now House today, 2 down. We'll bring up Joe Mauer on his birthday.
Yep, happy 32nd birthday to Joe Mauer. And we'll help make his birthday even better. We will not sing.
Nevertheless, he is today's DraftKings player to watch. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com, the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball. Enter promo code Twin City. Twins have hit left-handers much better than right-handers, but still not good enough. They just have really struggled against right-handed pitching. So even though they face some really good left-handers like Sale and Price, and a guy today that's given them all kinds of trouble, T.J. House, they're hitting significantly better against lefties than righties. They're hitting .238 against lefties and incredibly only .200 against right-handed pitching. Flopped into left, and Brantley over to make the catch. And House has a 1-2-3 first inning.
May opened this homestand on Monday and said he felt like he pitched a lot better than his final line indicated. Manager Paul Molitor agreed with that. Molitor also pointed out that he thought last year was a pretty good challenge for May, getting up for the first time, but that this year he's shown a lot more maturity, a lot more confidence. He's been more aggressive. Overall, Molitor said that it looks like May's pitches are taking better shape, and he's definitely showing more consistency this year, which Dick and Bert is a great thing to see in a pitcher.
Yeah, thank you, Martin. That's exactly what they're looking for, is a consistency. And, you know, keep that pitch count down, because what we have seen from Trevor May, he'll pitch 5 or 6 innings, but be in the 90 to high 90 type range. So what he did in the first inning, only 15 pitches, that's what you'd like in that area right there for hopefully 7 good innings.
Earlier we talked about his 3-game winning streak, but in the 3 starts, he went a total of 16 innings. Up high, and it's 2-1.
He's thrown a couple breaking balls now, and he's just kind of overthrowing him flat a little bit.
2-1 to Santana. Moss and Murphy will follow.
We saw Neil Allen right there keeping a close eye on
Pop
May.
up short left. Escobar wants it.
You know, when we look at Trevor May's delivery, now here's a guy that's 6'5", and watch his left leg as it lands in the zone right where his foot lands. It kind of stands tall, and right there he kind of bends up a little bit. I'd like to see him stay down a little bit better. And his upper torso, you can see, is turned toward the first baseline. I'd like to see that, his chest more go toward home plate. And I think that's why the inconsistency sometimes of that ball kind of being all over the place. Good breaking ball right there for strike one. Best one he's thrown so far.
Batters Brandon Moss. A little low, 1-1. Moss hit his first home run of the year here on Friday night in the opening game of the series. And now with 2 strikes, Kloof will go to the right side of the infield.
Yeah, Moss has swung and missed a lot so far this year. 28 at bats. He has struck out half of those.
Scalded toward the right field corner. And Hunter, did he field that between his legs? That looked like he fielded that between his legs.
I think he did. Well, it looked like a changeup that left up right there, and Moss watched the location. Good swing right there, but the ball left about middle of the plate. And Torrey going over. Yeah, he did. Kind of all in one motion, ready to turn and throw in case Moss headed to second base.
Tyus Jones helped out with the opening pitch ceremonies on opening night, and I think that's just a little influence that Tyus Jones might have had on Torrey Hunter, who was also part of the ceremonial first pitch on Monday afternoon. 1-0 to David Murphy. And there's a strike. What we've seen from May, of course with some exceptions, is 1 strike, then a ball, another strike. We haven't seen him, with the term you guys use, pound the strike zone. Just throw it over. Don't throw it down the middle, but throw quality strikes. And he's not quite to that point yet. A breaking ball over for a strike. That's very similar to the one he threw Moss in the opening pitch of that at bat.
Right, and that's a nice tight breaking ball right there. 26 pitches, 16 strikes. Moss not a threat to run.
Another fly ball, should be a fly ball out with Robinson circling under it. Mentioned the Twins have been patient with May. They really want him to step forward. One of the first orders of business for Terry Ryan when he reassumed the general manager duties, acquiring May and Alex Meyer. And here we are 2.5 years later, and it's time for these guys to have an impact up here. Meyer really struggling with his control, still at AAA.
Yeah, time is running out. Like you mentioned, both May and Meyer, 25 years old. It's time to see if they can pitch here consistently.
By fastball, Chisenhall swings through it. May, admittedly, was overwhelmed with his call-up last year, but he was at least able to take that experience last year and turn it into a positive during the offseason. As Marnie said, the ball hit the center, Robinson over, and he makes a catch about belt high. 5 fly ball outs and a strikeout and a couple of clean innings for Trevor May. changer in the second half of his season. Through his first 9 starts last year, he posted a 1-2 mark, ERA of 4.5, and opponents hit .312 against him. He changed all of that in his final 9 starts, going 4-1 with a 2.25 ERA, and had opponents hitting just .254.
Yeah, and 3 of those starts came against the Twins, and the Indians went 7-0 over his last 7 starts.
Something they've been able to do in Cleveland the last 2 years, and I'm not sure even they know why, but they've gotten much better pitching in the second half of the year than the first half. That's the ideal for a general manager, a manager, a pitching coach. You want guys to pitch better in the second half of the year. Now 3-0 to Vargas. That's how you get into postseason play. That's how you get above the 500 mark.
Yeah, you just saw Mickey Callaway, the pitching coach for Terry Francona.
A 4-pitch walk to Vargas.
You know, we looked at Trevor May in the first inning with his delivery. Let's look at T.J. House. Watch T.J. House's upper torso compared to May's. They're completely different type of pitchers, of course, but you see the chest going toward home plate, where Trevor May's chest kind of goes over toward that first baseline, spins around a little bit.
Trevor Plouffe, the batter. Plouffe's game-winning home run in the 11th inning, the most electric moment of this first homestand. Strike 1. Just off the plate. Plouffe just 1 for 14 against left-handers.
House, of course, a left-handed pitcher, and Vargas not a threat to run, but he did pick off a couple runners last year.
Foul back.
Good swing right there by Trevor.
1-2.
You always know it's a good swing when that ball hits that screen right behind home plate. Means he was just on it. He just got underneath that ball a little bit. Perez sitting inside. Ball down and away.
2-2.
Brian Gorman behind the plate today. He's a 24-year umpire veteran, crew chief here.
And a low 3/4 delivery by House.
It's kind of a roundhouse type breaking ball that just keeps spinning down and in. That's where he wanted that ball. He left it up a little bit.
Trying to pitch around a leadoff walk. 2-2 to Plouffe. Slap to right toward the corner, down for a hit. Moss will chase it. Vargas rounding second, on his way to third. He'll be held there, and Plouffe checks into second with a double.
You know, that's what we saw Trevor Plouffe do so well last year. 40 doubles for Trevor Plouffe last year. And how many times did we see him maybe, you know, just take that shorter swing, that 2-strike type approach, and just hit that ball where it's pitched. Watch this pitch right here. Outer half of the plate down. And Trevor makes good contact right down that right field line for his second double of the year.
And now Kurt Suzuki. Suzuki and Mauer are tied for the team lead in runs batted in with 4. Run scoring a big issue for the Twins. And outside, ball 1.
In these situations too, we have seen, you know, already on this homestand, bases loaded, nobody out, and maybe not being able to score but 1 run.
A team hitting .214 and a team that hasn't walked as much as you would like. They have bunched things together, but they've always been 1 hit away from the big hit that will drive in a couple of runs. Black foul.
Watch out.
I don't know how many bases loaded situations have the Twins, and certainly not in Detroit, they couldn't get guys on base, but you know, in the Kansas City series and even in earlier in this series, bases loaded situations or situations like this, second and third, nobody out, and maybe at best 1 run.
Well, and sometimes it just takes maybe a base hit by Kurt Suzuki to get it going. You know, you get into a rut sometimes in the game of baseball where things like that happen, and it takes one guy maybe to get a base hit, and it's all forgotten about, and you move on.
It's driven down the right field line, and just the opposite's true as well. The Royals came here, and particularly through that first game, it was like, well, guys on base, 2 out, somebody's going to get a hit.
Right.
You get that confidence going, and it can be just as extreme on the other side of the coin. 1-2 now to Suzuki. Twins trying to take advantage of the opening walk by T.J. House on 4 pitches.
Perez, the catcher, going inside and with the fastball in. And I mentioned Brian Gorman again. You know, on a couple pitches already, we've seen Perez go inside. The ball's left out over the plate. Sometimes it's hard for that umpire behind the plate to give you a little bit more on the corners or call the corners when your catcher's sitting inside and the ball's away. So it's very important to work with your catcher and hit where he's sitting.
And Suzuki hit by a pitch. He'll fill first base, so they're loaded up now for Arce.
Well, again, Perez sat inside and the ball too far inside for House. And
Perez
Suzuki
out to
getting
talk
hit
to
on the knee. Just above the knee.
We're loaded up for Arce in the starting lineup based on a hunch by the manager. Did not put Arce in the lineup against Vargas the other day, even though Arce had hit the deciding home run late in the ball game the day before. But based on a hunch, Arce gets the start here today, and wouldn't you know it, first time up, bases loaded, nobody out.
Yeah, two hits in 7 at-bats against House. You know, it's the second hit batsman for House this season. In that Detroit game, the 4th batter of the game against the Tigers, he hit Victor Martinez, and a home plate umpire gave him a warning. They thought that he had hit Martinez on purpose, which he said he did not. Tigers are already had scored 3 runs.
2 strikes now to Arce.
Oh, nice grab. One-handed grab by the Twins fan.
Arce trying to get a big hit against a left-handed pitcher. But behind in the count, 0-2. That's to left. Brantley to the corner. Vargas doesn't run well, but they will try to send him home anyway and succeed. A sacrifice fly for Arcia. The Twins get the first run of the game.
Arcia getting his 3rd RBI of the year. The ball hit deep enough. Brantley, a left-handed thrower, had to go over to the left field line. So Gene Glenn, the third base coach, telling Vargas to tag up.
Hey, it wasn't a long at bat, but it was a good one for Arcia. You fall behind 0-2 against a guy that's kind of tough against lefties and end up flipping one into the outfield to give your team the first.
And that's what Tom Bernansky and Rudy Hernandez, the hitting coaches, want to see. Just better contact with 2 strikes.
Now Escobar. A couple of runners out there with 1 out. Mentioned hit batters. There's already been one in Kansas City. Lorenzo Cain just got plunked. Bench is cleared. Ned Yost ejected. Warnings given. That's been a very contentious series.
That Royal Ball Club, they want to fight this year.
Yeah, they had an issue with
Chicago and Anaheim.
The Angels, right?
Yep.
Giordano Ventura, who ended up being ejected yesterday after hitting Laurie with a 99-mile-per-hour fastball and then kind of smirking afterwards.
Well, that was from the day before,
right,
because Laurie slid into Escobar and put him out for a while.
1-1 to Escobar and a foul back, but it was Ventura who had an issue with Mike Trout for some reason in Anaheim in the 2nd series of the year. Twins have 1 on the board, looking for a bigger inning with Escobar at the plate. Rudy Hernandez, the assistant hitting coach for the Twins. That's rolled foul near the bag.
You know, I think that's a good thing that the Twins did. There's so many kids from Latin America now playing in the big leagues. And you have Tom Bernansky, a great hitting coach. But Rudy, being his assistant, is also from Venezuela. And he and Arcia and a lot of the players from Venezuela, Dominican, Puerto Rico, very close to Rudy. So that you don't have that difference in sometimes the language barrier.
Hit to right center field, to the gap. And a trap in right field. Rounding third and scoring is Plouffe. And Escobar makes it a 2-0 ball game with an RBI single.
And that's what's important right there for the Twins. Yeah, you get the sacrifice fly, but runners at first and second, now 1 out. It's up to the next guy, and Escobar picking up his first RBI of the year. Makes good contact the other way.
Doesn't make any difference what uniform you wear, whether you're right-handed or left-handed. You throw it down the middle of the plate. Major league hitters are going to make pretty good contact with it. So Escobar with a 2-strike single. Suzuki alertly scampering over to third. And now Shane Robinson. On the ground. Fumbled at short. And everybody's safe. Ramirez on a hot ground ball couldn't field it cleanly. Suzuki scores. It's 3-0.
Yeah, Ramirez kind of looked like he got tied up a little bit. Didn't know whether to backhand that or get his body in front of it. And this ball hit very sharply. And Ramirez, I think, tried to backhand it, but the ball hit his glove and got behind him. It'll be an error on the shortstop. No RBI. Excuse me, a RBI for Robertson, but the Twins take a 3-0 lead.
House lasted just an inning and a third in his first start this year. He's having a hard time getting outs in the second inning again here today. Strike one to Dozier. Dozier with a liner to left. Ball very hard right to Brantley. Now inside 1-1.
That error by Cleveland, only their 5th error of the year. And for Ramirez, his first.
Right field line, but it'll twist foul. Trying to, well, it's too late to do a good job of damage control, but this inning could really blow up in his face if he's not careful. 1-2. And Dozier chases for out number 2.
House picking up his first strikeout.
2 down, and that'll bring up Hunter.
High fastball right here. Brian just swings through it. You know, T.J. House back in 2011 is in the minor league system for the Cleveland Indians, and Mickey Callaway was his pitching coach down in Single A. And he kind of had a tough talk with House. Told him basically, you better get better or you're going to find yourself out of baseball. Mickey Callaway basically called it tough love. You know, he wasn't taking care of himself. He's kind of out of shape, and House took it to the level that he should have. He worked out really hard and progressed in the system, came up last year, did pretty well. Again, Indians were 13-5 in his 18 starts.
A high fly to left center field and deep. Brantley and Bourne, and Brantley tracks it down with a great running catch. Hit near the bullpen area, but Brantley races to the gap to haul it in. The Twins put 3 up in the second.
your link to what's next. By NorthlandFord.com and your local Northland Ford dealer. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here.
Waldo Arcia driving in the first run. The Twins scored 2 more. Trevor May handed an early 3-0 lead. He'll face Roberto Perez in the third.
It's a big inning for May right here. The first 2 okay, but now you got a 3-0 lead. Attack. Even more reason to attack the strike zone.
As awful as the home opener was, Twins lost the game 12-3. Didn't seem like the game was even that close. Twins had a 1-0 lead, scoring a run on the bottom of the first, and then Morales hit a home run on the top of the second. And boy, those runs you give back, especially in a home run, you work hard to get a run and then boom, one pitch and the game's tied. It's really a deflating experience, or can be. 1-1 to Perez. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Good fastball there at 92. Perez, a great day at the plate yesterday. 3 for 4, hit a home run. Drove in a couple runs for the Indians.
You know, since we've seen May's fastball top out at 95 and last one was 92, I think he even had one at 89. I like that. You know, it seems to me the best pitchers are the ones that don't settle in at one speed with their fastball. You can put a couple on, maybe take a couple off. And if the idea is to mess up a hitter's timing, what better way to do that than throw the same pitch but throw it at a variety of speeds?
Yeah, but the thing with May, now yesterday you saw Salazar. He got that fastball to 97 to 99. It was that high fastball.
Right.
May is more of a conventional pitcher to where he's going to top out maybe at 93, 94. So it's important for him to sometimes maybe have a little movement on that fastball rather than a 4-seamer. Work on the 2-seamer that you get some sink and get a quick out on a ground ball. Most of his fastballs that are 92 to 94 are pretty straight.
Full count to the leadoff man in the third. And a foul ball, and took a bite out of Suzuki. So, yeah, to your point, I say fastball, but most pitchers who are out there now throw a 2-seamer and will throw a 4-seamer, and that alone might account for the variance in speed because the 4-seamer is going to be a little bit faster.
Right. 2-seamer usually has a little sink on it as long as you work out front, get your fingers on top of that ball.
Chopper headed up the middle. Escobar fields, sets, and fires. So May eventually retires Perez.
First ground ball out for May.
Sanford Health Injury Report. Greg Holland put on the disabled list yesterday with a pectoral strain. And you might imagine, although it didn't come into play yesterday, the Royals were shut out, that Wade Davis would probably, Kelvin Herrera maybe getting a save opportunity, but so often happens, it's not filling the closer's role. It's all right, then who are the Royals going to put in that setup capacity?
Right, in the 6th and 7th inning.
Numped foul, 1-1. Royals playing the series finale at home against Oakland. The Twins have 3 night games there starting tomorrow night. Up high. Another 3-ball count.
Now there's a 2-seamer right there that had a little sink on it.
This is again what causes the pitch count to climb. A lot of full counts. At the knees, another full count. Better tempo. He gets the ball back from the catcher, looking in for the side. And a foul ball.
You know, you mentioned another day game here for the Twins. 10 of the 12 games played so far for the Twins have been day games. And I think really the players are looking forward to some night games.
Chopper up the line. Bauer to the bag. Ooh. His foot's skidded on the base a little bit with May a little tardy in getting over there. 2 down.
Star Wars Night, May 4th at Target Field. A special ticket package is available that includes a Hughes the Force bobblehead with a glow-in-the-dark lightsaber. Ticket packages are limited. Your only way to get a bobblehead is to get a ticket. So get your tickets today at twinsbaseball.com/Hughes the Force.
I talked to Dick about the difference between day games and night games. You know, in spring training, they're all day games. You might have a couple, 2 or 3 night games, and then you start the season 10 or 12 day games. You know, as a player, and not only as a former pitcher, but also as a player, night games, you can come to the ballpark at 1 o'clock. You know, you can do a lot more. You can take early batting practice. You can relax a little bit more. You get to know your teammates. What's a day game starting at 1 o'clock? You're here at 9, maybe hit, and then you're ready for the game.
Swing and a miss, 1 and 2.
I think you can relax more on night games.
I prefer night games to day games, but I think if I were a player, well, anybody, whatever your job is, you like routine. You know, you like to have the same preparation, whether if you're an accountant and you work mornings and afternoons, you like getting into the routine rather than, okay, well, now tonight I got to work afternoons and evenings. And
we had that night game on Wednesday and Friday, and I got here about 2 or 3 o'clock, and guys are out hitting early. You know, you don't get that in day games.
2 and 2.
Are they going to get here at 8 o'clock and hit? Barely getting up.
On the ground, and he'll roll up the middle, a base hit with 2 out in the 3rd. Bourne's aboard for Kipnis.
Second hit for the Indians.
That was one of the arguments for lights at Wrigley Field after, of course, they didn't have lights for the first 100 years of the ballpark or whatever, and to get the players that played for the Cubs the luxury of doing what you said, to be able to play night games.
Keep an eye on Bourne right here. Indians want to try to get back into the game, and Bourne very good speed at first.
And that's into right field, a base hit. Bourne ground second, and he'll go to 3rd. So a couple of ground ball hits with 2 outs here in the 3rd. That'll bring Brantley to the plate as a tying run.
As I mentioned, this is a big inning for May right here. Yeah, you get 2 outs. Now a base hit and another base hit. Now runners in the corners. This is a big out right here.
A couple of seeing eye hits, but now Cleveland's best hitters at the plate.
Brantley missing those 6 games like he did. His timing quite not there yet.
Fly ball to center his first time up.
3 hits in 17 at bats for Brantley.
High breaking ball. It spun out of his hand.
He's done that about 3 times already.
Now you look at 52 pitches. At this rate, provided he get through this mess and doesn't have any other big innings, you're looking at a 6-inning pitcher. That's a liner to right, down for a hit. And 3 straight 2-out hits have the Indians on the board.
Oh, he missed with that high breaking ball, showed disgust that he missed, and he came back in with a fastball that didn't have any movement, was right there, and Brantley picking up an RBI, his 2nd of the year.
Down the middle.
Yeah. No movement. And Brantley, I don't care if you're just getting underway as far as your season, you're going to hit that pitch. Quick trip to the mound by the pitching coach, Neil Allen. Every time your team scores like a multi-run inning as a pitcher, you have to go out there and put a 0 on the board. Boy, that just it makes that other team just kind of feel bad. Okay, now we're down 3-0. All of a sudden, now it's 3-1. Hey, we're back in this game.
Tommy Malone talked about that, didn't he, when he joined us the other night? He had a rough outing against the Royals, and the Royals got a 2-run home run early, but a couple innings later, the Twins got a 2-run home run, and it's almost like a reprieve for the pitcher. Okay, I made a mistake. I don't feel particularly sharp, but it's like a 0-0 ball game.
Right.
1-0 now to Santana. Pop up to short his first time up. Second time through the order, and the Indians are having better success against Trevor May. Nubber into short right field, and Dozier ends the inning throwing to Mauer. 3-2 out singles. The Indians are on the board, and Joe Mauer will lead things off in the Twins' third.
Birthday boy.
In the third, so Mauer hit a fly ball to left his first time up. It'll be Mauer, Vargas, and Plouffe facing T.J. House here in the third. Chopped foul, one of the many encouraging things regarding Mauer, although his average is not yet at 300. He once again has hit left-handed pitching awfully well for one today against House. When Joe was winning batting titles, it made no difference at all whether it was a lefty or a righty. And he's faced, as we said, some really tough left-handed starting pitching. Price, Sale, inside. Joe entered the game today hitting .316 against lefties. No, all the hits have been singles. But everyone wants Joe to get back to where he once was. Tapper to second. One down. And let's get caught up with the Twins leading 3-1.
At the bottom of the second inning, that leadoff walk always scores for some reason. Arcia scores Vargas, who led off the inning with a walk, picks up an RBI. Then the RBI single by Escobar going the other way. That scored Plouffe. And the air off the bat of Shane Robinson scored Suzuki, who had been hit by a pitch that inning. But the Indians come back. Trevor May, 3 innings. They score one off of May in the third, but it's a 3-1 ball game.
Deep short. Ramirez throws out Vargas, 2 down. And that'll bring up Trevor Plouffe. Plouffe rifled a double into the right field corner his first time up. Coming up on May 6th, it's the 11th annual Kids in the City, celebrating the Fox Sports North Boys and Girls Clubs All-Stars. The event starts with a pregame party at Fulton Brewery, followed by the Twins and A's. $75 the charge, and it includes food, beverages, a ticket to the game. Visit foxsportsnorth.com, click on upcoming events on the Hot Topics bar for details. One strike to Plouffe. And now a ball.
Well, House is doing here what Trevor May hopes to do next inning. House needed 30 pitches in that second inning. He needs a quick 1-2-3 inning. He's got 2 already.
And now 2-1. game with a 2-run lead. And now 3-1. Suzuki on deck. Chopper to short. And 3 ground ball outs. A 1-2-3 third inning for T.J. House. Lakes area with an unusual collection of museums, great festivals, and lakeside resorts. Visit exploreminnesota.com. Discover a world that's only in Minnesota. Post your Minnesota experience to #OnlyInMN. Alexandria, beautiful part of the state of Minnesota, home to the Minnesota Lakes Maritime Museum, featuring historic boats, resort history, fishing memorabilia, special exhibits. I wonder if my first boat is in the I mean, it was an historic boat for me. It's the first time I owned a boat. It was a little 12-foot car top boat. I put it on top of my 1962 Chevy Bel Air. And
my dad had one of those.
Some bungee cord strapped over the top. And
where is it today?
I don't know. Maybe it's in the Maritime Museum in Alexandria.
Could be underneath the lake too.
Like my tackle box, my very first tackle box, had some great collector's items, lures, like a hula popper and a lazy Ike.
It could be in there.
It could be in there. I'm going to have next time in Alexandria, by golly, I'm going to go to the Minnesota Lakes Maritime Museum. 3-1, a Twins lead, 2 quick strikes to Brandon Moss, and now a ball up and away.
Saw that fastball right there again, kind of just a little bit too quick, not staying back over that pitching rubber. Keep that left shoulder in. Create that downward plane.
Swing and a miss and a high fastball.
Strikeout number 2 in the ball game for May. Just reared back and challenged Moss. Moss, who got a base hit in his first at bat, strikes out here.
David Murphy hit a fly ball to center. Transition of sorts for May as he shaves the outside corner. First 2 innings, everything was hit in the air. And in the 3rd inning, everything was hit on the ground. He didn't have an intermediate inning where he got a little mixture of each.
Good
2 strikes.
Yep, good changeup right there.
You do like his tempo, doesn't he? I mean, he doesn't fool around out there.
And that's what you want to be. Your defense is going to be better behind you, especially if you're around the plate consistently like May has been.
And he just missed the outside corner there. Change up, missing again. 2-2. another full count. And him 0-2.
Yeah, 4-3-2 count so far for May. Making his 11th major league start. 3 wins, 7 losses.
Liner. And Escobar, in almost a catcher's position, catches the strike. 2 down. Carsoup.com trivia. Who was the last Cleveland player to win an AL MVP? Wow. The Indians on their uniform are wearing the number 7 in honor of great Cleveland player, longtime executive Al Rosen. And I wonder if you have to go back that far. Rounder to second. Easy play for Dozier. And a very good 4th inning for Trevor May.
Yeah, against Chris Young in the 8th inning, a 2-run home run in the Twins' 8-5 win. In yesterday's ball game, a solo home run off of Danny Salazar, even though the Indians ended up beating the Twins 4-2.
Suzuki hit the leg by a pitch. He scored the 3rd Twins run of the 2nd inning. Down and in, ball 1. House's problems in the 2nd inning began with a 4-pitch walk to Vargas, leading off the inning. Suzuki takes ball 2. Probably they go hand in hand. The Twins haven't hit much. They haven't drawn enough walks. And usually the team that draws a lot of walks also gets a lot of hits because they see the ball better. They're swinging at strikes and they're letting the other pitchers go by. I think that's been one of the reasons the Twins have struggled offensively. And now another 4-pitch walk begins the 4th inning.
2nd walk for House.
Time for today's Coors Banquet timeless moment. On this date, 1960, before the Twins were born, making his debut in pinstripes, Roger Maris goes 4 for 5, batting leadoff in the Yankee lineup. Right fielder's 11 total bases, including 2 home runs and a double. Contribute to the Bronx Bombers' opening day 8-4 win over Boston at Fenway Park. Yes, back in 1960, opening day was on April 19th. Here's Arcia. And I want to go back to an inning or so ago. You were talking about Rudy Hernandez and how the Twins adding Hernandez to the major league staff because of guys like Arcia. Just imagine what the Twins lineup might look like in just a couple of years. Ball Grounded pass, Chisenhall to left field. Suzuki will go to second base, and Arcia with a couple of good at-bats here against TJ House.
Well, you know, Paul Molitor had a hunch, and that's why Arcia is in the lineup. And a nice piece of hitting right here. Remember, in his first at-bat with 2 strikes, able to get that sacrifice fly and drive into Twins' first run. Right here, good contact the other way with the shift that the Indians put on him. There's nobody at third base, so Arcia picks up a base hit.
Twins project Arcia to be a corner outfielder. The Twins might have Eddie Rosario in the outfield. They might have Miguel Sano at third, Danny Santana at short, Polanco at second, Pinto behind the plate, and Vargas is their designated hitter. So, yeah, having an Hispanic coach or maybe a second one down the road is going to be very important. 1-0 to Escobar. And let's put Escobar on that team and let him play anywhere in the infield, the outfield the manager wants to put him. Escobar with an RBI single his first time up. And he takes a strike, 1-1. Jose Barrios might be in the rotation.
Oh, he's got good arm. He started for me in the Futures game. Got a chance to watch him warm up. Nasty slider.
Escobar bounces it to third, and Chisenhall gets the out at second, and he might have had an opportunity to step on third and get a double play that way.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't, because he kind of spun right there that he did not run to the third base bag. Indians down by a couple of runs. You kind of want to keep that guy off third base if possible. Right there, he could have made a couple steps, but he decides to try to turn the double play, but Escobar too quick. So Suzuki makes it over to third.
Number 9 batter Shane Robinson will hit. Robinson reached on an error, charged to shortstop Jose Ramirez. He had a hot 2-hopper, and Ramirez booted it at short. And a base hit to left. Suzuki scores, and it's 4-1.
Well, Robinson picking up his second RBI of the ball game, his third on the season, and Suzuki scores for the second time. So again, the leadoff walk scores against TJ House.
Mickey Callaway will come to the mound. And the Twins lead 4-1. Back to the top of the order, and Brian Dozier. I showed you in the open, the Twins have had 4 disappointing years in a row, particularly here. And boy, it sure shouldn't seem like a major accomplishment to have a winning homestand. You're supposed to win at home. Take again a look at the homestand record for the Twins over this 4-year drought that they've had. 49 homestands in that period of time, and just 13 winning homestands.
Right.
So if the Twins win here today, they have a 4-2 homestand and hit the road. Hope that maybe that'll be the building block for the rest of the season. Dozier with a liner to left and a strikeout. Down and in, ball 1. Some activity in the Cleveland bullpen here in the 4th inning.
Seen that figure out there before, except when they Twins uniform.
Yep.
Anthony Swarzak warming up.
Check swing. 2-0. Toward third. Chisenhall gets the out there, and the relay to first, not in time. So again, Chisenhall gets a force play at second, and again the Twins have runners on the corners with 2 out.
Yeah, good hustle by Dozier out of the batter's box because this looked like a tailor-made double play. Kipnis very good at second base and relaying that throw over to first. Let Dozier just beat it out.
Leadoff walk here in the 4th. Turn this inning into a 1-run inning. Hunter needs to come up with a 2-out hit to open up a bigger lead. Down and away, ball 1.
Michael Brantley made a great running catch off the bat of Torrey Hunter's fly ball toward the bullpen. Ended the 2nd inning. A long way for that ball.
Swing and a miss. Hunter trying for a 3-run home run there. 3 runs batted in for Hunter on the season. Inside, 2-1. Walk, a pair of hits, and 1 run for the Twins. Chopper to third. Chisenhall fires across. That ends the inning. Those leadoff walks usually come around to score, and it happened again for T.J. House in the 4th. Pepsi fans of the game on a cool spring afternoon. Good start for the Twins. They lead it 4-1. Trevor Mays pitched well, and he'll face Roberto Perez, Jose Ramirez, and Michael Bourne in the 5th. Strike 1 on the outside corner. The pitch count encouraging for May. He had a quick 4th inning.
Yep. After 26 pitches in the 3rd, only 12 in the 4th.
Breaking ball left up high. That's been a hot and cold pitch for him.
Yeah, you can almost see it released out of his hand. Total of 69 pitches.
Down low, 2-1. Perez with a bouncer to short his first time up.
think what Neil Allen is looking for, the same thing that Rick Anderson looked for 12 years for the starting staff. Give me quality starts. In today's game, 6 innings, 3 earned runs or less. Just give me that. That means that the club is in every game.
The left, where Arcia gloves it on the warning track. Come down.
Perez gave it a ride, but maybe just off the end of the bat.
Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Boys and Girls Clubs help young people reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, education, healthy lifestyles, and more. For more info, visit foxsportssupports.com.
You know, we just saw a good trip to the mound, not by the pitching coach, but Kurt Suzuki. He went out there, the veteran catcher, went out there and talked to May. You know, you fall behind 3-1, you're going to get hurt. Perez put a good swing on that. He just missed, maybe making it a 4-2 ball game.
Now 1-1 to Ramirez.
Don't know what he told him, but hey, you know, get the ball down. You're getting the ball up right now. Get ahead in the count.
I think that Suzuki has always been known as a good handler of pitchers. Would be the perfect complement to the inexperienced Trevor May.
Well, you have to, you know, you don't see May shake off too often.
1-2.
You have a game plan going in, then you make the adjustment. But that guy behind the plate, he knows what he's doing back there.
Changeup, got him. Good pitch by Trevor May.
In a great spot. Strikeout number 3.
And now Michael Bourne. It is fun to watch, and we've seen it countless times. A pitcher a little overwhelmed at first, but almost with every start, confidence building. Throwing pitches like that and getting the desired result, confidence builds. Confidence, but don't you almost, to succeed out there, have to have almost some arrogance where you believe you're better than the hitters that are running up there to the plate?
Well, I always thought it was my day. Everybody else is passing through. Is that arrogance?
That's arrogance, yes.
No, you have to go out there and believe that, you know, you can get them out. And hey, they're going to have days that things don't go your way. But if you get 30 to 35 starts a year, there's going to be 4 or 5 times that things aren't going to go your way, and there's going to be 4 or 5 times I always looked at, I'm going to pitch a shutout. Everything's going to go my way. My defense is going to play great. It's the other 25 starts that make or break your season.
Another 3-ball count.
Those are the days that you have to, you know, work with your catcher and really corral what you have working for you that day.
May right where he was in the 3rd inning when he got the first 2 outs, and then Bourne got a single, Kipnis got a single, Brantley got a single, and the Indians got a run with 2 outs. And another changeup and another strikeout. 7 in a row set down by Trevor May. 4 singles and no walks.
Minnesota Lottery Winners Circle. We have $100 worth of scratch-off lottery tickets for the birthday girl, Miss Violet from Schaefer, Minnesota, who turned 91 years young yesterday. Happy birthday, Violet. What is the secret to living 91 good years?
Don't drink, smoke, gamble.
Is that it?
And don't chase men.
What about broadcasters?
No.
Don't chase them either?
We're easy to catch.
Well, I'm day to day.
You have a wonderful family. The wonderful family of Violet is here celebrating. She's going to make an exception. She's going to gamble just to scratch off these lottery tickets, but that's it. Happy birthday, Violet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very nice. Happy birthday, young lady.
2-1 to Joe Mauer. Kenny Vargas, Trevor Plouffe will follow. Sun trying to break through here at Target Field.
Means my days are numbered.
You're not going to make it to 91, are you?
I may not make it to Kansas City.
Deep down the left field line and into the seats. Twins do leave after the ball game today. 3 games in Kansas City, and then 3 night games, and then an off day Thursday in Seattle, and 3 games against the Mariners, who right now have the same record as the Twins, 4-7. Hard to left to the corner. Brantley, though, is there to make the catch. Mauer's had a decent homestand in terms of picking up hits, but first Alex Gordon and now Michael Brantley retreating to the corner to take that slicing line drive away. 1 down. Here's Vargas. It sure looks as if the White Sox are going to lose today. Quintana got lit up. Tigers are leading 9-1 in the 7th inning, and if this score holds, then the Twins will move ahead of both the Indians and the White Sox. And of course, no one's paying much attention to the standings, but boy, you have a dreadful start to the season the way the Twins did. They entered the game today minus 25 in run differential, but they were minus 24 when they left Detroit. They got outscored 25-1, and since then they had a competitive series in Chicago, winning 1 game there. Obviously competed against the Royals. Here's a hot ground ball and a base hit for Vargas. And this has been an evenly played series up to this point, with the Twins winning a 1-run game and the Indians winning a 2-run game.
Well, breaking ball looked like it just stayed up right here. And Vargas taking it right back up the middle, his first hit, and the 5th for the Twins.
And now Trevor Plouffe, a double and a run scored in 2 trips. Vargas doing just fine from the right side of the plate. It's the left side that's giving him trouble so far this year. Fox Tracks presented by Chrysler. 1-0. Just missing that outer edge. Tigers getting another good start from Shane Green, but still adjusting their timetable for Justin Verlander, who was supposed to have a bullpen session today. That was scratched. Hit hard to right field. That ball's got some carry. Off the base of the wall, Vargas rounds second, and because he had to hold up and in fact is thrown out at third, Plouffe held to a single. Nice relay from Moss to Kipnis to Chisenhall, and Vargas thrown out at third base.
Yeah, Vargas had to go about halfway, as you mentioned, Dick, to make sure that that ball was not caught. Moss went back and went over his head. And they played the carom, got it back in quickly. Good throw by Kipnis over to Chisenhall. So Trevor, for the 2nd time in the game, goes the other way. Over the head of Moss. See that ball hit, carom right back to him. Kipnis a strong throw, and Chisenhall applies the tag to the sliding Vargas.
Plouffe at first, checked by House with Suzuki at the plate.
that's what we saw last year. A lot of Trevor Plouffe's hits going the other way. Good to see. Because we know he has power to hit home runs. If you leave that 3-1 cookie in there, he'll hit the game-winning home run. To be an average type hitter, you have to use the whole field.
So I wonder whether Paul Molitor will mention the best at bats in the game here so far. We're about halfway done. This one rolled to third. Chisenhall from foul ground shows off his arm. Suzuki retired, and the Twins are done in the fifth. America. Get your Knothole Kids Day vouchers at any local Super America. Twins trying to finish the first homestand with a 4-2 mark. Trevor May's been really good. Indians did bunch 3 singles together to score a run in the third, but they only have 4 hits, all singles, and no walks issued by May.
Yeah, that's the only hiccup he had, and he was able to get Santana out for that final out of the third inning. And that kind of kept, the damage to a minimum, and that's what you like to see.
Kipnis, Brantley, and Santana will face him here in the 6th. May starting this inning with 82 pitches thrown.
No walks for May, 4 strikeouts, and the 4 hits allowed, all singles.
And Anthony's a strike. His location. Although he has misfired with his curveball, but the quality of his strike seems to be better than what we've seen in the past. High fastball there, gets a swing and a miss.
I think what you see, hopefully, is a guy that, first couple 2-3 innings trying to overthrow the ball. Now you're more into a comfort zone. Now you rely on more off-speed pitches, better location, good location of that changeup right there. When you're ahead in the count, you want to drop it on top of home plate. Exactly what he did, just on the other side.
And then every once in a while, one like that's not close to the strike zone. 2-2. Well, Trevor knows what the situation is. Ricky Nolasco, the hope is, will be back up in a week and a half, 2 weeks. The ball hit to center, and Robinson.
Good changeup down in the zone, and Kipnis creating that fly ball out.
One down, Michael Brantley will hit. We'll give you the answer to our Carsoup.com trivia question. Albert Bell, maybe. Al Rosen. And it was Al Rosen. That's back before I was born.
Some people can say that. Some can't.
That's why I brought it up. We're just far enough apart in age where it applied to me, but not to you. There's Brantley. And Mauer with a nice pickup. And he'll get to the bag ahead of Brantley, 2 down. All headed down the line, but Mauer was able to get there.
And a first pitch out right there. Second time in this ball game that May's been a little slow getting over to first base. I'm sure Neil Allen will mention something to him.
Suzuki might be mentioning it right now. 2 down, and now Santana. But May knows the situation. Ricky Nolasco, the hope is, will be back up here taking his turn every 5 days soon. Eventually, Irvin Santana will be in this rotation. May has an opportunity he wasn't expecting, at least not this early, and he needs to make the most of it. So far today, he has. Santana takes strike 1.
When you're 25 years old and you've spent, what, 7 years, 8 years in the minor leagues, you better be ready.
Rochester, New York is a great baseball town, but you can forgive Trevor May if he never wants to go back there again.
Exactly.
1-1. 2-1. Santana with a pop up to short and a bouncer to second.
Retired 9 straight.
Ooh, that ball skipped low. Dozier spins and fires, not in time. Santana will reach. That ball kicked off of Mauer's glove, but he's looking at what it hit as it came to him. He'll be charged with an error.
Well, the only thing right here, I think, Joe, if he had to do it over again, he'd get in front of this ball. You see, he tried to play it off to the side, and that ball kind of skipped off the top of his glove. So Joe will get an error, his first error of the year. So even if you play that ball in front of you, it takes a bad hop, it's going to fall in front of you rather than trying to play it off to the side.
As they say, anybody can field the true hops. The good fielders can field the bad hops. Here's Moss. Swing and a miss, strike 1.
Good change up there. Seems like the curveball has been a little inconsistent for May, so now they're going fastball changeup, and that's the importance again of Neil Allen in spring training, really concentrating on everybody to learn that changeup, have confidence in it, because if the breaking ball isn't working, you have that other secondary pitch that you can go to.
Danny Salazar yesterday, we were told that, it seems like as a secondary pitch, sometimes it's the changeup, sometimes it's a slider. He didn't have a good slider yesterday. Basically got by on 2 pitches.
He had that nasty splitter along with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
Foul back to the screen. May trying to pitch around the 2-out error. The Indians, what they've done against May, they've done with 2 outs. The 3 straight hits and a run in the 3rd. Now an extra out in the 6th.
Certain times throughout the year as a pitcher, you get the chance to pick up your defense. And Joe Mauer with the air, you want to get this guy right here. Pick up your first baseman. They pick you up the whole season.
Down and in, 1-2.
Pitch number 97. Might be his last this inning as far as pitches.
Fly ball center field, hit at Shane Robinson.
Quality start.
6 really good inning. This truly was a quality start. We'll see whether the bullpen takes over in the 7th.
at your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. Twins in front 4-1. Oswaldo Arcia will lead off the inning. He pulls it foul on the first pitch, 1 strike. Maybe today Arcia's best back-to-back at-bats we've seen this year. He fell behind 0-2 with the bases loaded, nobody out in the second, and lifted a fly ball to the opposite field. Drove in a run, and then got an opposite field single in the fourth. And quickly behind now, 0-2. Suzuki, Trevor May talking it over. Aaron Thompson was warming up in the Twins bullpen. Outside, 1-2. Arcia, Escobar, and Robinson in the Twins' 6th.
You almost heard Bruno in the background, Tom Bernanski, saying, come on, hang in there, make contact.
Chip shot, and the third baseman Chisenhall makes the catch, 1 away. And that'll bring up Escobar. Combine your love of the Twins and the Golden Gophers by attending University of Minnesota night at Target Field on May 1st against the White Sox. Find out how to see the game, receive a limited edition maroon and gold Twins cap by visiting twinsbaseball.com/U of M for tickets and more information.
Let's go.
Escobar with a foul, 1 strike. Escobar with an RBI single. Reached on a fielder's choice in the 4th. Foul back, 2 strikes. Started to talk last inning about Tom Bernanski, Paul Molitor maybe talking about the best at bats against House. And let's not, get silly here. I mean, the Twins have just 6 hits on the inside corner, and House gets a called 3rd strike.
Second strikeout for TJ House.
But 3 of the hits have been delivered to the opposite field. Plouffe's 2 hits going to the opposite field. Arcia's opposite field hit. And House might be one of those guys where that would be the advice.
Yeah, Escobar's RBI single went the other way.
That's right. That's 4 hits. Yeah. Strike 1 to Robinson, who pulled the base hit to left. Thompson continues to warm up. Looks like he'll take the game in the 7th inning. And House hits the inside corner, 0-2. One and 2.
Even though House gave up 3 runs in the 2nd inning, he is settling down nicely, keeping his club in the game. And again, I think that's one reason, even though he won 5 games last year, the Indians, when you're not an overpowering pitcher, you have to kind of make the adjustment. And the 2nd inning was a tough inning for him, but he's only given up 1 run since that time.
Another opposite field hit, this one from Shane Robinson. It's a 2-out single in the 6th.
Now Robertson having a nice day at the plate. Picking up his 2nd hit. Picked up an RBI single in the 4th.
And Terry Francona is going to come out and change pitchers, giving TJ House 3 trips through the Twins batting order. Pitch left up. Robinson hammered it to right field. Super slow phantom cam replay showing you what we mean and what hitting coaches talk about. An inside out swing. House checks out of the ball game, and we turn the game over to the Cleveland bullpen.
Twins have done a nice job with some good at-bats and taking the ball the other way.
Well, you want to pick up the ball and then react to it. Trevor Plouffe with a double that he hit the other way. That inside-out type swing. And we just saw Robinson see the ball and then make good contact. And hit that ball to right field.
See, in each case, the hands of the hitter are actually more forward than the point of contact in the swing. Kind of hoping this would happen. Anthony Swarzak pitched admirably, very well for the Twins in a number of different capacities for a number of years, but now he pitches for the Indians. Looking forward to seeing him pitch, and was hoping that when he did come in, the Twins had the lead in the game.
Always odd sometimes to write a name down in your scorebook for the opposing team rather than someone we did for 5 seasons in a Twins uniform, and that's Swarzak. Anthony pitched for the Twins from 2009, 2011 to 2014. 181 games. Remember, he made some starts, 32, 16 wins in a Twins uniform.
Swing and a miss, and Perez looks at Robinson at first. Well, the Twins had more than their share of pitching issues over the last 4 years, but Swarzak was
not one of them.
Yeah, he filled his role admirably.
Yes,
Dozier takes strike 2.
Yeah, Swarzak went to spring training, a non-roster player, signed late with the Indians and made the club out of spring training. Signed on January 15th.
Swarzak gave up 100 hits last year in 86 innings, only walked 28. 2 strikes. Swarzak suspicious that Robinson might take off.
Yeah, Robinson, 2 of the 4 stolen bases for the Twins this year. Signed out of Nova High School in Davie, Florida. Anthony Swarzak, 29 years old.
Off the plate. Recently, as last year, he made 4 starts. His best role was that of a long reliever.
That one year he led all of baseball in innings pitched out of the bullpen as a reliever.
96 innings 2 years ago. And now 2-2. Twins did decide to make over their bullpen. Adding the likes of Stauffer, eventually Graham and Boyer. Jared Burton and Swarzak. No longer in the Twins organization. One of the things he did so well, and we've already seen it here. Robinson, I'm sure, is trying to figure out Swarzak's move, trying to get a good jump, maybe steal a base, but Swarzak's so quick to home. He was very good at holding runners. Full count to Dozier. Robinson will take off now with 2 out in the inning. And he got ahead of him 0-2 and lost him to a walk, and now he has to face Torrey Hunter. Nice walk by Dozier. And Hunter 0 for 3 on the day. Hoping to break the game open a bit here. Outside corner, a strike. One and one. Came up with a couple of men on base in the second, hit a warning track drive hauled in by Brantley. Came up with a couple of men aboard in the fourth and grounded out. So a third opportunity to drive in some runs here in the 6th inning. Deep to left field, down the line, back and gone.
Home run number 1 on Torrey Hunter. First 3-run home run for the Twins this season. And the Twins take a 7-1 lead thanks to the 3-run home run.
And with one swing, he doubled his RBI output in the first 2 weeks of the season.
Looked like a fastball in, and Torrey opened up quickly and hit that ball over the left field fence.
Again, at the time, you just don't think that much of it. Shane Robinson with 2 outs pokes a single to the opposite field. Then Dozier falls behind 0-2, but he ends up drawing a walk, and suddenly somebody hits a 3-run home run, and the game is busted wide open, 7-1. Bauer to center, and he's got a hit on his birthday. Swarzak gives up a 3-run home run, and Bauer, who of course caught Swarzak an awful lot, tees off and lines a single to center.
Yeah, birthday hit right there for Joe Mauer. Hit that ball sharply up the middle in the center field. Yeah, a 7-game hitting streak on his birthday.
That's not something you could ever say.
No. I gave up a lot of hits on my birthday.
Here's Vargas. Single, a walk, and a bounce out. All of that from the other side of the plate. The Twins would love to get Vargas feeling more confident from the left side of the plate. In Kansas City, the Twins will face 2 righties and a lefty in terms of starting pitchers. Right-handers Volquez and Guthrie. Left-hander Vargas will pitch against the Twins again.
Now, I know it wasn't T.J. House that went through that. You know, Swarzak comes in, gives it to Torrey Hunter. But with 2 outs, the Twins get the base hit, the walk, the home run like you talked about. That's why that 3rd inning was so important for Trevor May, because 3 straight hits with 2 outs. Then he was able to retire Santana for only 1 run allowed.
Yeah. 1-2 now to Vargas. By Perez. Vargas just seems to be in a prolonged rut where he's reacting to the fastball when it's an off-speed pitch, and he's waiting for an off-speed pitch, and he's getting a fastball.
Well, it's that cat and mouse game when you first come up. Of course, both he and Santana did so well last year. Now you maybe look breaking ball, suddenly that fastball's by you just like that. Swarzak picks up the strikeout.
And the left-handed batter Vargas now 2 for 26 with 11 strikeouts. Torrey Hunter with the team's first 3-run home run this year.
The eyes still catch every baseball nuance. The glove still catches every baseball hit at it. We've seen this before.
Oh, what a catch!
11 seasons as the pulse of the Minnesota Twins. 4 of those saw playoff baseball. The organization was rebuilding when he arrived in 1997. Him as a cornerstone to it.
He didn't catch that, did he? He sure did!
He transformed it.
What a grand slam for Torrey Hunter!
Toughened it.
Oh my goodness! Perkins flattened!
Turned it from a nothing to a something.
The Minnesota Twins, for the 3rd consecutive year, are the division champions in the Central.
He doesn't run from his past. He runs with it. It defines him. Tough, hard, determined, focused. Torrey Hunter. It's the story of what makes a man.
And what makes a great ball player.
Big 3-run home run. Aaron Thompson into the ball game in relief of Trevor May. Delivers strike 1 to David Murphy. Or excuse me, this is Jerry Sands hitting in Murphy's spot.
Tell you what, Aaron Thompson has done a great job out of that bullpen, making his 7th relief appearance. 8 1/3 innings. Only 3 hits allowed, 1 run, and that came in his first outing in Detroit. And who didn't give up a run?
If he only gave up 1, he was the best pitcher in that series. 2 strikes. And Thompson on 3 sends Sands back to the dugout.
Picking up his 5th strikeout now in 8 2/3 innings. Straight over the top, the lefty.
1 down, and that'll bring up Chisenhall. Thompson, the beneficiary of the horrible situation surrounding Irvin Santana. And if you want to suggest to me or anybody else that the Twins were put back on their heels by that to start the season 3 days after the Santana news, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not smart enough to figure out how that can impact 25 different players or whatever, but it was just an awful way to start the season when you were counting so heavily on one man to, anchor the rotation, fill it out, balance it out. But Thompson wasn't on the team at the start of the year. There's a line at a mile or 2 down. Thompson wasn't on the team when it broke camp and then was added to the roster. So what we've had here so far, a starting pitcher who wasn't on the roster, pitching arguably the best game of his major league career here today. And Thompson, who's just been outstanding and as reliable as can be.
He made 7 appearances last year in September, late August, and pitched well then too. So he's been around the block. He's been with different organizations, the Marlins, the Pirates. Came up with the Pirates for a little bit in 2011. Back to the minor leagues. So you cherish these moments and you hope that everything goes your way, and so far so good for Aaron Thompson.
One strike. Man, a strike thrower who doesn't throw it over the middle of the plate.
We mentioned in this last outing, Thompson, #1 pick by the Marlins back in 2005. So somebody saw something in him.
And Suzuki has that roll away. Big overhand breaking ball, and he might not get many strikeouts with it, but he sure gets a lot of lazy fly balls with it. Outside, 2-2. high and deep to center. Robinson back. Deepest part of the park, 405 feet from home plate. Perez finishes off a 1-2-3 7th inning for Aaron Thompson. Twins lead it 7-1. The Indians running out of outs. Robinson's had a good game today with a couple of hits. He's covered center field very well. And on this Sunday afternoon, first Sunday of the home schedule, we're very happy to bring you God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Story so far.
Yeah, 3 runs put on the board by the Twins in the bottom of the second inning, highlighted by the Plouffe double, the RBI single by Escobar. Twins added another run in the 4th inning with Shane Robinson's RBI single. Torrey Hunter's big 3-run home run, and Trevor May a quality start. 6 innings, 8 hits allowed. Excuse me, 4 hits allowed. Only 1 run. Anthony Swarzak out there. Got beat around a little bit coming in relief last inning. The walk to Dozier, the 3-run home run to Hunter, and then a base hit to Mauer.
Trevor Plouffe will lead things off for the Twins. Into the corner. Should be another extra base hit for Plouffe. Twins are treating Anthony Swarzak rather rudely. Dozier drew a walk. Hunter hit a home run. Mauer sharp single.
Yeah, breaking ball left up, and we saw Trevor in his first other couple at bats go the other way. This is a breaking ball that kind of hung right there, and Trevor put a good swing on it. This one, he can get those hands out and pulls that ball. His second double of the ball game on his 3rd hit.
Bring up Kurt Suzuki. Suzuki scored a couple of runs, hit by a pitch. He scored in the 2nd. leadoff walk in the 4th, and he scored that as well. 10 hits for the Twins. The Twins are trying to string together some games where they get 10 or more hits. A lot easier to score runs when you get 10 hits. Blew for 3 hits today. On the outside corner, 0-2. Just if you're looking forward to what you hope will be a Twins win, Indians have not had a game this year where they've scored 7 runs. It's deep down the right field line, but it's a foul ball. 2 strikes to Suzuki. Oakland is leading in Kansas City 2-1. Approaching the late innings there. If Kansas City loses, they'll be 8-4. If the Twins win, they'll be 5-8. It'll be all of 3 games separating the 2 teams. Another foul ball. Back into the seats. Detroit already beat Chicago 9-1. And breaking ball gets Suzuki 1 away.
Swarzak picks up his 2nd strikeout. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
Indians will bring a left-hander in to face Oswaldo Arcia when we come back. One live streaming sports service is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, widget, and more. Every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Mark Szepczynski coming out of the bullpen, 29-year-old left-hander, making his 6th relief appearance. Arcia will face him. Arcia's had
couple of good at-bats against left-handed pitching today. Now a different left-hander, and that ball, oh, what a pickup by Carlos Santana. How in the world did he make that one-hop catch?
Yeah, second time in this series we've seen him show his leather over at first base. My goodness, Arcia hitting this ball looked like it was going to be a double down that right field corner, but that hop right there, what a great play by Santana.
2 down, and Plouffe goes to third. And that ball looked like a double. Yeah, it looked like a double all the way. Arcia 1 for 3 on the day, but 4 competitive at bats against left-handed pitching. And now here's Escobar. Ball 1.
Hey, let's go. Come on, pick him up.
RBI single in the second inning for Escobar. Drove in the second run in that 3-run second inning.
1-1. Dirt, I don't think it hit him. Nice pickup by Perez.
Sapchinski with that fastball in the upper 80s, low 90s, curveball, slider, changeup. 7th season at the major league level with the Blue Jays, Cardinals, and his 3rd season with the Indians.
And a breaking ball gets a swing and a miss.
Hard slider.
Now, come on, let's go.
Fighting off another breaking ball. Two and 2 to Escobar. Fights off another breaking pitch to keep the at-bat alive. You know, there's so much, Bert, that was new about this Twins team. Got a new manager, some new coaches, and some people brought in from outside the organization, which hardly ever happens here when it comes to major league staff. Over the years, that coaches that have come up to the big leagues have usually been within the system, but this was a different situation this year. 2 and 2 to Escobar. Another foul. And what you want, of course, is to get off to a good start and let everybody feel confident that they're able to work together and can be competitive and all that. Then you have the horrible series in Detroit where, I don't know if it shook anybody's confidence, but it sure didn't build it. And now, since then, this has been a really competitive team to watch.
Well, Detroit's playing very good. You know, they beat the White Sox today 9-1. What are they overall now? 10-2 on the year.
Yep. And Escobar keeps fighting off those breaking pitches.
Yes, Sapchinski's not going to give up by stop throwing that breaking ball, and Escobar keeps fouling it off. The story of baseball is probably the Mets. Mets won, I believe, again today. They've won 8 in a row. They are 10-3 on the season.
Beat the Marlins 7-6, and on the other side, that's one of the stories too. A lot of people thought the Marlins would be, you know, much better, and they might be by season's end. But right now, they're 3-10. There are some teams expected to do well who have not done well at all, including Miami, including Seattle. Giants win the World Series, and they broke a 8-game losing streak yesterday. Another 2-2 to Escobar, and finally a breaking ball gets him, and Escobar takes his frustration out on his bat.
tomorrow will be. Join us on Fox Sports North at 6 o'clock on Monday night for our Game 3 coverage of the Wild and St. Louis Blues. And the Twins start a series in Kansas City. That's at 6:30, our coverage on Fox Sports North Plus. Now back to baseball at Target Field.
Good luck to the Wild losing yesterday. Thank you, Jeff. Twins hoping to go into the road trip with a little momentum, a couple of series wins, a winning homestand. Aaron Thompson out there to pitch to the Indians in the 8th inning. Fox Tracks presented by Carrier. Strike one. Ramirez, Bourne, and Kipnis.
I'm just looking at Thompson. You know, here he is going another inning, and that's very important for a guy out of that bullpen. But right-handed hitters against Thompson so far this year, just one hit in 18 at-bats.
This might be a bit extreme, but I mean, he's just a strike-throwing machine. 13 pitches, 11 strikes, and that's kind of what he's been doing, getting ahead of hitters. One hit to the right field corner. That's the pitch that's gotten so many outs for him. A 2-strike breaking ball, and hitters seem to be out in front and lifting it weakly to the opposite field.
You know, sometimes that curveball becomes like a changeup. If you don't have a very good straight changeup, you can always take something off that curveball. Now, an 0-2 pitch, he kind of left that up a little bit. If you're going to throw that again, he'd like to get it just on the other side of the plate.
But an 89-mile-per-hour fastball and pretty much ate up Ramirez. He was late with his swing.
That's what you're talking about right there. 15 pitches, 13 strikes.
Foul back. You know, we can show you velocity and we can throw you strike percentage, and it's all important, but something that's hard to quantify. We can talk about it, but we really can't measure it. You can try to show it. Deception in a pitcher's delivery, whether he's right-handed or left-handed, and there must be something about Thompson's delivery that is very deceptive.
Very short, compact, quick hands as far as the arm going through, releasing the ball. It's a good job of hiding the ball. Young man that, you know, when he signed with the Marlins, they put him in a rotation. They were hoping in the minor leagues he was going to be a future starter, but this has been his best role.
There's a weak breaking ball, or a breaking ball, and a weak fly to right. Hunter, a fair ball catch near the line, one away. Today after the game, don't miss Vikings Beyond the Gridiron. This episode, get an inside look into the upcoming NFL Draft. Vikings Beyond the Gridiron, today after the Twins game, only on Fox Sports North. And now Bourne. Thompson had an outing like this a couple days ago. You know, just a couple of 1, 2, 3 innings. Well, my goodness, how invaluable is that when you're trying to win a ball game? In this case, it was, you know, an extra inning win for the Twins on the Plouffe home run in the 11th, fouled back. Given up a run or a hit since his first outing in Detroit. Just off the outside corner.
Yeah, here on Friday, 2 shutout innings with a strikeout. In the 11th inning, 3-2 win, 22 pitches, 16 strikes.
He has issued 1 walk, but that was in a harmless, otherwise harmless 1-inning outing against the Royals. 2-2 to Michael Bourne. Flipped foul near the tarp and back into the seats. Everything looked bad in Detroit. Starting pitching wasn't good. Bullpen was terrible. Lineup didn't produce any runs or hits. Now we got 10 hits, 7 runs on the board, so that part's looking good today. But really, from that Detroit series, with the exception, I guess, of the home opener, the bullpen has been pretty good. Perkins has a couple of saves.
Fiend has worked around a shoulder issue to come back and pitch effectively. Dunsing went hurt. Thielbar came in and pitched well the other day. Full count. And Thompson issues just his second walk of the year.
Yeah, we got to quit praising guys because then they
It's a strike
thrower.
Yeah. Strike thrower. You can pick up your glove. Check out the new 2015 Weekend Warrior ticket package. You can get all Friday, all Saturday, or all Sunday home games. Become a Twins season ticket holder today. Get your ticket to summer. Call 800-33-TWINS or visit twinsbaseball.com. Weekend Warrior /Weekend Warrior for more info or to place a deposit. And now Jason Kipnis. Up and in, ball one. And back on the strike zone.
You know, always being a starter, you admire guys that can come bounce back maybe with 1 day rest like Thompson did. It's not that easy.
Over the inside corner, 1-2.
As a starter like Trevor May, who pitched 6 very good innings tonight, I mean, or today, he'll get 4 days off, 5 days off to get ready for his next start. But the relievers, sometimes they're out there 2, 3, 4 days in a row.
Flip foul. Glenn Perkins worked 3 days in a row, got yesterday off. Fiend warming up. J.R. Graham hasn't pitched in a few days. He's warming up as well. Check swing. Nope. And it's 2-2.
Pretty good pitch right there, just missing. 30 pitches right now for Aaron Thompson.
Left-hand hitting Kipnis, followed by left-hand hitting Michael Brantley. Tap foul. And Arcia in foul ground makes a nice effort and slides feet first into the wall. Played that about as well as you can, as safely as you can. Might have made the catch.
No, good effort right here. He knows that short wall is coming. He slides, keeps good concentration on the ball, and it banged off that wall. Well, I think if it didn't hit the wall, he may have caught that ball. Just over a foot or two.
2-2 to Jason Kipnis. And a base hit to right. Bourne had a long battle with Thompson, ended up drawing a walk, and now Kipnis fights off some 2-strike pitches. The Indians mounting a bit of a threat here in the 8th inning.
Yeah, both Kipnis's hits have been between first and second base. He got a base hit in the 3rd inning off of Trevor May. Between Dozier and Mauer, Kipnis picks up his second.
And now Brantley with 2 men aboard. Very likely might be Thompson's last batter with switch hitter Carlos Santana on deck. Dug out by Suzuki. Ball 1. Suzuki will walk a new baseball out to Thompson. What you don't want to do with a 6-run lead here and 5 outs to get, you don't want to create a save situation needlessly. And that's kind of what happened in the final Kansas City game here on Thursday. Twins had a comfortable lead. We're hoping not to use Glenn Perkins for a 3rd day in a row, but then Brian Dunsing, dealing with this intercostal issue that had been bothering him for some time, didn't pitch effectively, gave up a few hits, and before he knew it, Twins found themselves in a save situation. Tapper towards second.
Can they turn it?
And a high throw. Mauer with the tag. They'll get a double play. A tag of the runner by Dozier and a tag of the runner by Mauer. And we'll see if the Indians challenge this. They potentially would have two different challenges here. And Terry Francona heading back to the dugout. They'll let it ride. It apparently was, or no, now he's asking somebody to move toward the Indian dugout. The replay system here at Target Field is near the visiting dugout.
So he's having Brantley come in.
Okay, yep. So it is a double play. Tagged by Dozier, tagged by Mauer, and Thompson ends up having two effective innings of relief.
Start at the bottom of the 8th inning, and right after the game we'll bring you Twins Live presented by CenturyLink when we look at Trevor May and his very solid start. Splendid, actually, in his 6 innings of work. Trevor's hoping for his first win of the season. Plus, Torrey Hunter hit the big 3-run home run in the 6th inning. Tim Laudner and Tom Hanneman will break that down, and we'll hear from the manager, Paul Molitor, and Dick and Bert, what is looking to be like the Twins wrapping up a very good homestand here today.
Yes, thank you very much. The homestand, kind of a microcosm of the season so far. If you could forget how it started, the teams look pretty good.
Well, Brian Shaw coming out of the bullpen, the 3rd reliever used here by the Indians.
And over for a strike.
Shaw served up that hanging 3-1 slider to Trevor Plouffe here on Friday night. In the 11th inning, took the loss in that ballgame, making his 6th relief appearance.
Two and one to Robinson. He's had a good day in the field. He's made all the plays. He's also picked up a couple of hits and been on base 3 times. Robinson with a 2-out hit in the 6th. And 2 plate appearances later, Torrey Hunter hit his first home run in his 2nd stint with the Twins, a 3-run home run.
Shaw last year outstanding out of that bullpen, 80 relief appearances, the most in the American League.
Up high. Will roll over, hit the bag. Kipnis tried to barehand it, and Robinson continues to have a good day at the plate. A 3-hit game and a leadoff single here in the 8th. Let's get caught up on what's happened with Trevor May getting the start.
Yeah, 6 good innings. A first quality start for Trevor May. Only 4 hits allowed. 3 in a row in the 3rd inning. Created 1 run. Other than that, no walks. 4 strikeouts for May. Torrey Hunter, big 3-run home run in the 6th inning to make it a 7-1 lead. Trevor Plouffe for 3 hits. Just saw Shane Robinson get his 3rd hit.
One and 0 to Brian Dozier. Walked and scored his last time up. It was a good walk too because he was behind 0-2 to Anthony Swarzak. Ended up getting the walk, and then Hunter hit his home run. 1-1. And that over the inside corner. 1-2. Ryan Rayburn in left field for the Indians now. Shaw pitching and Hayes catching. Fouled away into the seats. One and 2 to the Twins' second baseman. Started a nifty double play, tagging the runner, and his throw a little bit high, but then Mauer did the same. Ball stroked to left, and Rayburn with the catch, 1 away. We'll bring up Hunter.
You know, I saw Shaw pitch. You know, we saw him a lot last time. We see him 19 times. Again, 80 relief appearances. Shaw, I don't remember him throwing as many breaking balls as he has. Even that other night, he threw Trevor Plouffe 4 of them. Finally, that 4th one hung there for him. It's almost like every pitch is at either cutter or big breaking ball. He's got a fastball in the low 90s. Another big breaking ball.
Ball 1. A while ago, I was talking about, or suggesting at least, that I think this homestand has gone a long way toward boosting the confidence of everybody in uniform. And if it continues to play pretty good baseball, I'm guessing that people will point to the game here the other night when they played a good ball game, pitched well enough to eventually beat the Indians in a game Corey Kluber pitched. I mean, the Twins lineup really struggling. You're facing the reigning Cy Young Award winner, and wouldn't you know it, he has 5 1-2-3 innings to get his game started, but the Twins ended up winning that game. Well, my goodness, if you're lacking for confidence, a game like that should boost it a little bit, shouldn't it? Pop up near first base. And Santana with the catch out, number 2.
You could even go back a couple more games when Gibson pitched that good game against Kansas City too, and beat them 3-1. You know, so it all, and what you're talking about is pitching. Keep your club in the game. May here today, he kept his club in the game.
And Mike Pelfrey would be the first to tell you he did not do what he intended to do in terms of the depth of his start and walking all those people, but he only gave up 1 run in 5 innings in the bullpen and did a nice job after that. The Twins are 3 outs away from heading off on the second road trip of the year, 5-7. Not as good as 7-5, but
where they started off, very good.
They outscored 25-1. Then you come to open up your home season and you play a terrible game and frankly get embarrassed by the Royals, who had not lost a game to that point. 2-0 to Mauer. Royals finding runs hard to come by now. They were shut out yesterday. They have 1 on the board through 7 innings today. You start out the first 7 games and you're getting hits, doubles, and home runs and all that, and it looks like, my goodness, we're going to be impossible to beat. And then 1 week later, you're scuffling along like the Twins did in Detroit. 2-2.
A lot of ups and downs.
You know, you've always maintained a baseball season is like a roller coaster, and I always say it's more like, you know, the octopus. Tilt-a-whirl.
See, that's the reason I will never say octopus, because I've been on that once, and I never will go on it again. Now, a roller coaster, I don't mind a roller coaster. But the octopus, ooh.
Yeah. That got me. That was the first carnival ride that got me. I think you know what I mean.
Yes.
Yes.
Me too.
2-2.
Sad to say, my older brother was sitting next to me.
Probably sad for him.
Yes, it was.
2-2. And now a full count. And in Kansas City, Herrera has just thrown behind Brett Laurie. And now he was tossed. Tap foul. But now, you know, they try to eliminate that stuff and all that. If you drill a guy once, if you think he made a dirty slide,
you make your point.
That should be the end of it,
Right.
shouldn't it? Right? Throwing behind somebody is a little excessive.
Yes, I agree. Well, it was like Duffy threw behind, I don't know who it was. It was over behind his head.
Yeah.
That's not right. You're fooling with somebody's career there.
Robinson goes. Bauer lines it to Chisholm Hall, and that ends the 8th inning. J.R. Graham warming up. He might get the 9th inning. Seven to 1, the Twins in front, 3 outs away from finishing off their first homestand with a 4-2 mark. J.R. Graham, who hasn't pitched since he hit Alex Rios in the Kansas City series, gave up a hit, 3 runs, 1 earned, walked a couple of people, had very erratic outing to say the least. Back on the mound with a 6-run lead.
Yeah, that was last Monday against the Royals, making his 5th relief appearance.
Outside, ball 1. So chance for a couple of days for Graham to decompress. Rios took exception to Graham hitting him. Of course, Rios ended up on the disabled list with a busted hand.
There's no reason Graham would do that on purpose. I mean, remember the situation. He came in with bases loaded, nobody out, just trying to overthrow a fastball that came up and in and hit Rios in that right hand or left hand, excuse me.
1-1 to Santana. Rios didn't complain about being hit intentionally or anything like that. He just was frustrated with Graham coming in an inexperienced pitcher, a little flustered his first home appearance, and everything that might have led to having Graham let a pitch get away from him. But over the course of the season, how many times is that going to happen? The Royals will send some inexperienced pitchers out there before the season's over with.
Right.
It's not just the Twins, and it's not teams that have struggled over the last few years like the Twins. 1-2, and now 2-2.
Changeup missing low right there. Yeah, Graham made his first major league appearance on opening day in Detroit. He pitched 2 shutout innings. The Twins 4-0 loss. A Rule 5 pickup from the Braves organization.
Deep down the left field line. Since we're going to Kansas City, I find this really interesting that this is an ongoing situation down there. Herrera tossed. Don Wakamatsu has been ejected. Gerard Dyson ejected. The Royals have had 5 uniformed people ejected today.
Well, think about it. I mean, they had it with the White Sox. They had it with the Angels. They didn't have it with the Twins. Now they have trouble, against the A's. And we're coming to town. They haven't had trouble with us yet.
Tell you what.
Get your boxing gloves out, partner.
We're going to have a little rumble in the press box over those 3 games. I'll tell you that. I got Denny Matthews. Who you want to take on?
I got Rex.
A deep drive to right. And Hunter just, as a courtesy, turns around to pick up the carom.
Carlos Santana with a home run, his second of the year, got a fastball to his liking and hammered it off the facing in the second deck here in right field. So first home run that Graham has allowed. Location, 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 right there. That is 16 career home runs now for Santana against Twins pitching.
Another one hit deep down the left field line. Arcia to the corner. And did he make the catch? Arcia with a catch in the corner. Nice play by Oswaldo Arcia. Right in front of the fence.
Yeah, went a long way for this ball off the bat. And Arcia, good concentration. Able to hold on to that ball. Makes a nice catch.
And now Jerry Sands. Ball 1. Sands with a fly ball, or excuse me, Murphy had a fly ball to center, a liner to short, and a strikeout. Sands, excuse me, struck out in the 7th. Now he swings and misses here 1-1. Two and 1.
Sands, a newcomer to the Indians, 27 years old, spent time with the Dodgers and the Rays.
You see the velocity, and that's why the Twins picked Graham off in the Rule 5 draft. He had a great spring training.
He's making the jump from Double-A to the big leagues.
A walk. Sands aboard. And now for what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Mel Gibson, who beat the Royals here in this homestand, will get another chance at the Royals in Kauffman Stadium.
Kind of rematch of these two right-handed pitchers going at it. Kez pitched a good ball game, but Gibson just pitched better.
Terry Francona having some words with Brian Gorman. And boy, if I could over here, I'm trying not to eavesdrop, but something on the scoreboard is wrong. Strike one. And Graham needs to get back in the strike zone and try to finish up this ninth inning. Glenn Perkins starting to get loose, but not really working real hard. This ball chopped left side. And a base hit, an infield hit for Chisenhall, who hustled down the line. Ball not hit well. It may not have made it out of the infield grass, and Escobar had a long run to charge in and get that ball.
Yeah, he couldn't have played it any better, Escobar. Out of Graham's reach because his momentum takes him over toward third base. He couldn't get to it. Just out of his reach. Escobar fielding it, trying to get it over there with something on it, but Chisenhall hustling out of the box. Gets his first hit.
Hayes hitting in what was Perez's spot. Perez was 0 for 3.
And with Yan Gomes on a disabled list, Brett Hayes getting an opportunity to get some at bats here. Just getting called up.
One strike
on the 14th.
Well, if you're Graham, you want to finish things off here. You don't want to force the manager to come out, the pitching coach to come out. You don't want Perkins to have to heat up as if he needs to come into a ball game. So this batter right here is really important for Graham as he hopes to get the second out. Foul back, 2 strikes. Hayes hitting in the 8th spot. Number 9 batter Jose Ramirez is next. Perkins increasing the intensity of his warm-up out in the bullpen. Outside, 97 miles per hour.
And he's got a good arm, just control issue here tonight.
Rule 5 draftee has to stay with the big league club. Foul back, sending him down, not an option. And so you can't really carry someone. You do need to be able to rely on them to handle situations like this. 2 years ago it was Ryan Presley who was a Rule 5 guy, and Presley handled that situation that year pretty admirably. An off-speed pitch and it's flipped foul.
Brett Hayes, 31 years old in his first season with the Indians. Last couple with the Royals.
One good pitch here could end the inning. One and two. 2-2. Another foul. Graham trying to mix in his other pitches rather than just throwing fastballs, but Indians hitters are fouling off a lot of pitches.
And here comes the veteran Suzuki out to talk to him. A lot of pitches up in the zone. Another one high.
Even if Hayes reaches, it would not be a save situation, but I don't know that Paul Molitor's going to wait for one to evolve here. I think Hayes reaches, they may make a pitching change. There's a strikeout. And Graham gets the second out and will face the number 9 batter.
Well, he went to the breaking ball and Hayes swings through it. So Graham picks up a strikeout, his first. Good location and a little cutter, slider.
I don't know that we've seen a four-seam fastball and a changeup. A little cutter just off the plate ends up getting the strikeout, and now Ramirez. Just outside at 94 miles per hour. To center field. Shane Robinson drifts back, and the Twins finish off a 4-2 homestand. Tom Hanneman, the Twins got off to a tough start on the road, but they handled affairs pretty well in the first homestand, winning 2 series against divisional foes.
Dick, it all comes together today for the Twins. Fine fielding, timely hitting, and precise pitching. It all adds up to a 7-2 win. Up next on Twins Live, we'll break it all down. We'll hear from Paul Molitor and look ahead to the series against the Royals.